It's happened to Wendy lots of times. You know, went to see a dentist, and everything was covered in plastic. The chairs, the place had been cleaned out of patients, and everything was door handle as she knocked on, went to open the door. The whole thing was all just covered up in plastic.
Yeah, I'm not open to very many people at all in my life about being HIV positive. Because of the stigma that still exists, I'm afraid to mention it to anybody else.
Several members of our family that were very much anti that kind of lifestyle.
When I went into Royal Perth, I was put out in the veranda, I wasn't with the other women. And the rain came through a little gap in the ceiling, and because it was a veranda, it was for storage of that. And I was getting wet, but I had HIV, that's where I belonged.
I actually made a big mistake. Firstly, I turned to my work because I was getting promoted through management, so I thought the first year I worked there, I had a few sick days, so I didn't want them to think I was just taking time off. So I actually went to my senior managers and I called a meeting and actually disclosed it to them in a private, confidential setting. Then what actually happened was my team leader went to the pub for work drinks, had a few too many. He talked to another team leader about what I had, and next thing you know, half my workplace knew.
When some of them would hear about the condition, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, that's a bit different, isn't it?"
I ended up having over 100 days off in a year unpaid because I just didn't want to go face a workplace. So they were kind of the only support I felt like I had until that actually happened, and then I lost my job, and yeah, that just made everything worse.
And another incident I remember at the old school, one of the girls said to me, I remember all the time that you used to go to the Court Hotel, it all fits in now. She was about 20, 25, and I said, fits in how? She said, with you being HIV and being with the gay people and that. And I thought, my goodness.
I had some bad experiences, and they led me to go to the West Australian AIDS Council, which was a saviour.
Unfortunately or fortunately, two ways of looking at it, I fell pregnant. We always wanted 6, 7 children. I remember a particular doctor at Royal Perth saying to me, what have you done?
30 years ago, I think people were scared to death of it, which it should have been, but I think that's left a really sour taste in people's mouths, and I just think that the word needs to get out there and people just need to be educated. My
mum had Tanika for the day because I came home, and Mum, you want to know, she knew that I was pregnant, where I went and all that. I have made a cake, and I remember she made a cake, so she was a bit in denial, didn't want to know. Cake made everything better.
And I think a lack of knowledge in the general society contributes a lot to the stigma.
But I do remember Stephen's dad saying, you know what you have to do, you don't know what you're going to do with this child, and that was the decision I decided to terminate.
That would probably be my only regret in my life.
Yep.
I don't regret the HIV, I don't regret anything else, but the fact that we ended up only with one child. Because not long after that, Karen had a baby, maybe 6 months ago.
She was
another positive woman,
and she had a baby, and the baby's fine. And
when I came to Australia in 2005, I felt out of the closet, as it were, as far as HIV was concerned. But my experience here in WA put me back in the closet after some years. Actually, I feel a bit emotional about that now. It's weird. But yeah, it was a shame. I felt it was, and I think it has affected me ever since.